Alright, this is a vertical diesel motor, and it has 4 cylinders. This right here is the air intake. There's an air filter on this ring here, inside this ring. And then if we move in here, here is a Bosch, and well, I kind of got the idea from a Bosch, but these are fuel injector pumps, and they're on springs, and then they're on rollers, and you can see there's 4 of them, and it has a cam plate, and this right here, then orange would be the fuel line in, which would have a bypass valve on the outside to shut off the fuel pumps. It would take 4 of them to shut off all the cylinders, and then in the top right here, this orange highlighted thing, that's where the fuel comes out. And then it goes into the fuel injector over here in this highlighted area. And let's look from the top. And then over here we have the bevel gear on the bottom that turns the crank. And then we have each piston rod has its own bevel gear. And I picked this. It's hard to do a 6-cylinder because you have intake, compression, suppression, and exhaust. So on a bevel gear, you can only do so many gears, shafts. So this is why it's a 4-cylinder motor. So we're turning the crankshaft, which turns the cam plate, which turns the fuel, which rides on a cam plate, pushes the fuel injector into the motor. This is the intake valve over here, which comes with an intake spring, which air filter goes. These holes go to the fan on the radiator. And then inside this pocket here, like this highlighted blue, it's a shell for the water, and that goes all the way around. And then on the bottom of these cylinders, there's an oil scavenger pump, but I didn't put it in yet. Very simple scavenger pump, just a two gear pump, and the scavenging pump goes in this little spot that goes all the way down to the bottom of below the piston rods, where this circle brings the ring and dumps it into the inside the cylinder header. The cylinder header has mounting screws. This is the multi-unit injector, has a exhaust with a upper room, and I'll show you that in a minute. And the upper room, the valve goes up, it pushes the thing into the upper room, which goes on the exhaust. So this is the reason why it's a 4-cylinder engine, because it has to match a valve cover. Otherwise, we're counting teeth and we're not getting the floor intake in the right corrections throw. And then I did a wall. Okay, so here you see the bevel gear, the cam plate, the rocker arms, and let's go to plane 5. That's an easy one I can remember. And if I tell it to draw on plane 5, it should come back. Well, okay, so this is kind of crooked, but you can see the valve has the intake comes, there's the air filter, which the air comes in through the radiator fan, which will be above, and I'll show you that in the next video. So the intake valve comes under it, pushes into the gas, which escapes into the motor. The injector goes into the piston. The exhaust pushes the volume up and down over here in this, in through this wall. And then and we'll look at at it from here. So here's the piston rods, the lobes. Here we get the cavity. Down here is the bottom. So the cavity of the water is just a cavity. And then the bottom would have a fuel strainer check valve like a V block. And then, so that's pretty much, see if we can't look at this. Here's the pans, like there's the fuel injectors, the ring, oil ring. Anyways, now we look at the vertical generator set. So, okay, let me see if I have this on SolidWorks yet. Open it up. Somebody's calling me. Alright. Okay, I can't bring it up right now. Okay, once again we have the vertical motor, but let me pause the tape. Okay, we're back. Okay, this is the new vertical generator set, and we should come across it. Okay, so here's a vertical generator set, and you can see the motors on top. Of course, it's a diesel motor, so we don't have to change much. And then, that's too bad. Alright, so underneath there, here's the, if you looked at the milk carton job, so what basically we mounted that on top of there. This turns the generator crankshaft. This ring right here is my dialer capacitor, commutator rings, and then commutator brushes right here. And then these are solenoids, and they control. There's a hydraulic case around the generator set, and on the bottom, it splits it in half. We'll look at it from the top and the side. It switched. Okay, so here's the column. You can see there's a port from the top and two ports in the middle, which has a baffle. In this center plate, there's a gap, and then this, that's the top one. And then it shows a communicator ring specials. So the main generator's on top, and then over here in the columns you see the gap, and there's holes. This baffle fill. There's a line. There's two from the upper cavity into the baffle, pushes the baffle down. Whatever goes into here pushes the baffle down. So it's and then it ports down to the bottom where there's these fuel pumps. It goes into a compression spring, rides this thing up here, goes into the fuel pump. Fuel pump comes onto the rings outside here. This ring right here are spring loaded. So when you have it's sensitive, kind of like a weighing machine, but electric. So it like shortens the voltage and increases the voltage by how close these plates are to each other. And then over here you see the two valve holes, and then we'll push more towards the middle. And then so here we're looking at the plates, the spring, the fuel injector. There's four columns that hold the string, keep the plates steady, and then we move. And then from the top, there's a cavity. So there's two cavities in the middle here. this bottom cavity has a brake. I was thinking about running some resistor coils. I'm not sure what the top cavity will be yet. So it's kind of hydraulic. And then up here you see the commutator ring and the brushes. Solenoids control the lever up and down, and they're spring loaded. And then up here would be the vertical motor, which turns the generator here. And then we move more into the center. We see the vent generator core, and then more of the piston valves, and then the bottom, and then we move. So up here we're looking at, then we move more into the middle. The bottom generator becomes more defined. You see the fuel pumps coming into here, dumping into the side. So it comes through here, dumps this, pushes up, and controls the speed of the generator. So you're going down the hydraulic, going into the piston, show the fuel pump, turn board away, arrays, rides the plant, pushes the plates together, controls the speed of the bottom alternator generator. The alternator generator's on a crankshaft with a vertical motor, and then you can see more of the plate here. There's a dial plate, there's a speed. This one right here now, this one orders that speed dial to the commutator ring, which goes to the brushes, which could be what? Well, there's 2 sets of brushes. I wanted 5, but I wasn't getting greedy. And then, so you already got 18, 16. So here's the baffles again, pushes down. They're electronic solenoids that push down. Then you see the more plate into the American Bosch center. And I think that's pretty good. Over here you see the crankshaft, and they're turning this. Let's go from the top now. Alright, from the bottom you have your bottom seat centered, moving up. There's the fuel pumps in the middle. The capacitor rings, the springs, the middle core, the baffles, the top generator, the top part before the solenoid baffles close, the springs, the communicator rings, and then those are the brushes inside. Here's the speed dial, commutator ring, and then speed dial to the communicator ring, and then the dialing kind of like on the phone. And then we have our crankshaft or the vertical motor. So this makes the vertical generator set, and you push up. I might have to brace this, but that's fine. And then that's pretty much the whole motor right there. That's their vertical generator set. And I guess we could add to the film right here. Let's run a vertical generator set locomotive real quick, and we'll see what we come up with. Sorry, I have to look at this in VLC. For some reason, it doesn't want to. So this is a different generator set. Usually I use a Cummins diesel engine, which is lateral, that turns an alternator generator. So this is my 3rd generator set, if you can include the squirrel cage. So there's the radiators on top. The holes will go into the radiator. Well, no, they go into the air filter. The radiator goes into the empty core spaces in the vertical latitude. So now we have 3 4-cylinder diesel engines that are running 3 different generator sets. So if one goes down, you still got 2. And there's the view of my my same body as my locomotive. Shares the dual, all the features except for a different generator set, and it's dual cabbed. And check out some of the other videos.